Look.
Listen.
Taylor.
Hey, everybody. It's Look, Listen with Geese Guyera and Taylor, episode 81. This is a podcast. It's about Pokemon and other things, Taylor. Geese Peep, today we're going to discuss episode 33 of the anime of Pokemon Horizons. Big ol' Liko and Roy have a Terapagos' gleaming adventure. Why don't you let the Clambos know? Clambos is the listeners, for anyone unaware. Why don't you let them know what's new with Geese Peep?
I've been working. I've been really busy at work.
That's good.
Every Friday, there's a new episode of this podcast. Did I already say? I feel like I haven't said that this is a podcast about Pokemon and other things.
You did.
It's episode 81.
Yeah, we'll get it.
You're certain I said both 100%. Of those things?
First words out of your mouth was welcome to a podcast about 81 Pokemon and other things.
Wow, that's crazy. Geese, what's new with Geese?
I've been working, and I'm getting ready for a trip to Portland, Oregon. So I'm researching places to go look at tide pools.
Does Portland have a marine lair?
How many syllables in that word?
Marine lair.
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 What does that mean?
Like for evil geniuses?
No. Isn't that what it's called? The marine... It's called the marine lair. Like the dense clouds that go over...
Are we using the two-syllable word layer?
Yes, the marine layer.
Because you said layer, as in Dr. Wily's lair.
How many layers in a cake?
No, you're lying for
the
fun of it.
You don't say layers. How many layers are
That's
there?
Two syllables.
Right.
Where's your more?
Is there a marini layer?
Marini?
No, not in Portland, I don't believe.
Oh, okay. I know San Francisco has one. The reason I ask is because San Francisco has a very cool marine layer. And everybody says that the gigantic mound of smog that persists over Los Angeles is a marine layer. And it's not.
It's not.
Well, just be careful in San Francisco, Geese Peep.
I'm not going to San Francisco, but okay.
Was there anything else you wanted to mention to everyone before we move on to watching, playing, and eating?
Hopefully you're going to get some mission burritos when you go next to San Francisco.
This is really upsetting to me because I went to San Francisco this summer, and I unfortunately was bedridden for most of that trip because of terrible stomach issues where I did not get to eat mission burritos, and I did not get to go and look at the seals at the Fisherman's Wharf. But yeah, one day I'll go back to San Francisco and look at the seals. Portland I go. And if I don't see a starfish, I'm going to riot.
Are you going to the aquarium?
No, I'm going to the coast to go tide pooling.
Good luck seeing a starfish.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Geese, are we prepared to move on to watching, playing, and eating?
And some goofing, maybe.
What was that, Geese? I couldn't hear you because of Taylor.
I said, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Guys,
yes?
I got no sleep last night. I don't even know why I didn't get any sleep last night. I just couldn't fall asleep.
Now, when you say you got no sleep, do you mean you actually got no sleep?
Yeah, I actually got no sleep.
Wow.
Zero sleep?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on then. Everybody hold the phone. I have to spoil later into the episode of Pokemon. And I'll say, actually, it's worth mentioning twice. I cannot stand, even when fictional characters don't get sleep. It gives me a panic attack and makes me nervous thinking about the fact they didn't get sleep and how sleepy they'll be because I couldn't do it. I can't with the no sleep.
Do you know how hard it was me watching Mike Ehrmantraut in Better Call Saul doing surveillance? Just a man deep into his 70s, just like, I don't know, all-nighter, and then I'll take the grandkids.
Now, older people do need less sleep, which that's one thing, so I could not do with the no sleep. Clambos, welcome to Watching, Playing, and Eating, the brand new segment where we discuss what we watch or play. You know, entertainment, and also what we eat.
Consuming food, consuming entertainment.
That's exactly correct, Taylor. Thank you. This week, I watched the film that some of you may recall I mentioned watching the trailer 4 weeks ago, and that would be ISS. That movie was fine. About the International Space Station and troubles that ensue when a war happens on the Earth and then the Americans and the Russians got to figure out what's what. And then for video games this week, I need to beat Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion before I play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I really need to jump onto that. I did play for a bit. I probably got farther than I ever got on the PSP, which apparently wasn't that far because I haven't played for that long. It's a fun game. I don't know what to say. Well, you play it and it's very much, oh yeah, it feels like you're playing a handheld side story to me. I know people adore the story of Crisis Core, but it feels like I'm playing, a 358/2 or a Dream Drop Distance Kingdom Hearts game. I'm not saying I think Crisis Core is a better video game than those two examples, but it is just, okay, this isn't the real thing. This is just to hold me over for a little bit.
So I'll tell you what I think people really like about Crisis Core. It's the ending. Because you already know, assuming this isn't your first exposure to the story of Final Fantasy VII, you know how it ends. And that gut punch at the end, all the emotional stuff that's going on, that's why people play that game. Or not why people play it, but why people hold it in high regard.
Well, it's no spoiler that the front cover of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and also if you played FF7 Remake 2020, you know Zack is going to be a big part of Rebirth, so...
It better be flashback. Oh, gosh.
Wait, do you not know? You beat Remake, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know what it is.
Yeah, it bothers me so much.
It's a sequel, and you'll learn to love it.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to play it. I have it pre-ordered, going to get deluxe edition, everything. Love FF7.
Let's move on to my eating. Very boring this week, because everything I've eaten just tastes bad. 2024 starts, everybody increases prices, lowers food quality, shrinks portion size. I've just been going to Jack in the Box all the time because they have a really good deal right now on the bonus Jack combo. You get yourself a bonus Jack, a large fry, and a large black iced coffee for like $7. And I say, fine, it's the only thing I can afford.
Yeah.
These peep, let's move on to your watching, playing, and eating this week.
Well, I've been watching Aaron play.
Well,
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And
ooh.
So far, I really like it.
And he's playing dumb English or sick Japanese.
There's no way he's playing. No. Let's pretend he's doing the right choice, Geese.
No, he played it in English, and that's the character and the voice I got used to with Ichiban, and I love it. And does a really good job. Truly does a really good job with the voice acting.
So the marketing for Infinite Wealth is interesting. They're using a lot of YouTubers and influencers and little TikTokers and streamers. I was very surprised to see there's a creator named Kayson. She has a very unique voice. I don't know if you've met her in the game yet, Geese Peep.
No.
She sounds like... she's fine. She just looks like a normal Japanese woman when you look at her, but her voice is like what you would imagine a little, South Park character. Like, her voice is like... It's a unique voice. Look up Kayson.
Anyway, so far it's good. The story's really, gripping its hooks in me. I really like the new fighting. I like how enemies have collision damage. So you play bowling with the enemies. That's nice. But yeah, I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil anything. But so far I'm really liking it.
Very excited about it. It's interesting that you had a positive response to the marketing because I don't have any social media. So all I've seen is people in YouTube disparaging the game and monetization practices of New Game Plus. That's all I see, or a headline saying that.
I only saw the trailer once, but I was going to get the game regardless.
Me too.
Because I love Ichiban and I love my himbo.
I don't know how long it's going to take for me to play it because I still haven't beaten Yakuza 7 like a dragon. So maybe one day.
How far did you get into that?
I think there was... trying to think of the last big story point that happened. It's not like I'm right at the very beginning or anything. I did a big kind of dungeon thing where you went through a big building. I think I unlocked a bunch of new ways to get a bunch of new jobs. Like I go to the job recruitment place and now I can equip a bunch of different jobs.
So you're like a quarter of the way through.
I got my girl like a big ice sword or something. She's a idol, I think.
You mean, yeah, she probably has a lollipop or microphone.
Yeah, probably.
It's such a good game. It's an
very
incredibly
good. It's just
good
very
game.
big, and there's a million games to play. But yes, the New Game Plus thing is very strange. I wonder if they're going to walk that back and maybe try to refund people. It's odd.
Wait, what is this new? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so New Game Plus is a feature that is pretty standard in video games these days. A lot of
Certainly
times,
in RPGs.
Sure. A lot of times lately, what they've done is they've waited for a patch to release it. So a game doesn't have New Game Plus at the beginning, but then a few months later, they add New Game Plus as a feature. Yakuza 8, or Infinite, we'll just call it Infinite Wealth. For some reason, the higher-ups decided that, I'm imagining this was a decision not from Ryoga Goroku, but from the actual publisher, that they're going to paywall New Game Plus behind a special edition that costs, what, $15, $20 more?
It's a very strange decision, especially for, like, it's weird for me because I've seen nothing but positivity towards that game. And I have such a high opinion of the first game in the new series. So seeing that was a very weird thing for me.
They should have done the math and realized people are just going to not buy it out of principle. Even if they want a New Game Plus, they're going to say, I'm not going to do it. Kind of weird. Geese Pete, do you want to speak about your Ravens or your stir fries?
Ooh, you went to a rave?
No, I just watched the Ravens game yesterday, and they lost, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, sport. Wait, they lost and they're going to the Super Bowl?
Nice!
Good for them.
That's when you know when you're really good.
Yeah.
No, they lost, because they lost the chance to go to the Super Bowl. So
she just fast. They lost, they're gonna go Super Bowl.
Who's going? Who's going to be in the big
Chiefs
game?
and the 49ers.
Way to go! Are they both from Kansas?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Geese, what about your chicken stir fry?
Well, Aaron and I got takeout from this Mediterranean place we found last time I was here that was really good when we got it. We got it this time, and it was disappointing, which was unfortunate, and Aaron found a hair in his food, and it was yucky. Here's what drives me insane. Not only did he find a hair in his food, but they also didn't give us a falafel. It was supposed to come with 3 falafels. They only give us 2.
What?
He refused to call them or get a refund.
Oh, wow.
You can't both be that person. You need one person to be the assertive one.
Oh, it's gotta be. It's not gonna be me. It's gonna be him. So,
and he
it's
didn't.
His fault.
Taylor, please let us know this week what you've been watching, playing, or eating.
Dark Souls 2, which continues to be incredibly frustrating and not at all rewarding.
Oh.
I was telling somebody, I talked about it last week, right?
You did, in depth, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I mention how it's not tough but fair? It's tough but frustrating?
Yeah, they just have a million enemies. Just
Yep. Just like, hey, surprise, more poison. Yeah, sure, yeah. And the bad thing is, I haven't died to a boss yet. It's just very easy bosses and very frustrating levels. I understand why people like it, understand why people hate it.
Lemmy, our boy, was streaming it, and I saw a clip of it. Well, I'm actually not sure if he was playing Dark Souls 2. He was playing a Dark Souls, but is Dark Souls 2 big on the, we're going to hide a little enemy behind something, and you have no idea they're there, and then they're going to hit you, and you have no idea it's coming?
Everywhere. I just went through this area called the Earthen Keep, I think, and it was just pots of poison surrounding you, breaking everything. Oh, it's just a mess. Silly game. I'm excited about the third one. I've been watching a series, interestingly, called Griselda. Now, I didn't want to watch this. It's Sofia Vergara, and I just see Sofia Vergara, put as many prosthetics as you want. That's not transforming her.
Let's give Sofia Vergara fewer syllables.
Okay.
Vergara.
Sofia Vergara. She's a Marine layer. So it's like a mixture of Scarface and Breaking Bad without the depth or change of character for either of them.
Nice.
It's so weird because Breaking Bad is such a cool story about pride, and she just arbitrarily has a bunch of. They're like, oh, hey, here's this deal. Works out for everybody, and she's like, nah, and that's it. There's no you don't see her coming to that conclusion. The audience are just sitting there saying, I don't understand. It's weird.
Well, In exciting news, Severance Season 2 coming out. They showed some production photos. Yep.
The last I read about that was they were having a lot of incidents that weren't just related to the strike.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of creative stuff.
Yeah, creative differences.
Uh-oh.
So that kind of makes me worried about it. I love Severance, though.
It's so good.
Very good.
You've been listening to Hey Ya by Outkast.
You said media consumption, so that's the last song I listened to.
Did you misspell Outkast, by the way?
This is probably autocorrect. Or someone edited it after I wrote it.
Edited it, Sophia.
I have been, in my eating, I have made so many cheesecakes. I can't stop making cheesecakes.
Now,
there's one in the fridge right now.
Now, moving on to Taylor's Eating of the Week.
That's right, it's cheesecake. It's all cheesecake and ramen.
Why?
I don't know, Geese. You make one thing one time and everybody wants it all the time. At least it's not burgers. Because cheesecake is easy to make if you do the Spanish style. It's called burnt Basque cheesecake. Real easy, no crust, nice and custardy on the inside. Making a bunch of burgers and a bunch of sauce and a bunch of caramelized onions takes all day. You hurt your hand a few times. It's a mess. So
Taylor loves hurting his hand while cooking.
It's happened so many times. So many horrific burns.
Oh.
Are we ready for Poke News?
Poke News of the Week. Humans couldn't hear that, Geese.
Well,
that's a decibel.
Geese.
That's a decibel that doesn't exist. You just sound like a demon. You just sound like a demon.
She didn't say of the week. I got to hear of the week. Okay, one more time. Poke News of the Week.
News of the Week.
Everyone. Geese Pete, please turn that filter off. I'm going to...
Okay.
We've got more stuff on the Switch successor. I am not somebody who ever has any desire to go onto Twitter and try to correct people. But one thing I'm fighting the good fight for is I keep seeing people concerned that the successor to the Switch won't be backwards compatible. And so when I see that, I try to explain that the chance of that happening is 0%. Specifically because of Pokemon. You can't not have the games communicate back and forth, and you can't replace home that quickly, i.e. the successor must be backwards compatible.
It would be so silly if a company that fixated on multiplayer was like, nah.
Well, it just couldn't. I mean, there's a billion reasons that wouldn't be the case, but that is proof that it can't happen, Pokemon. If you even have an inkling of fear that it won't be backwards compatible, you just don't have enough information about Pokemon. So I try to deliver that information about Pokemon to people so they're no longer scared. This isn't really news per se, but I just saw a video of Piccadilly Circus in London.
London!
And they have a very cool Horizons, which is the anime we're watching on this podcast, a little advertisement. And it's one of those 3D billboards. It's the Great Salami, if you watch the video. And then in Poke News of the Week, we have a 7-star Terra raid update from Sarah B.
Real quick, let me interrupt you there. I'm looking at the picture that you sent. So in my mind, Piccadilly Circus is a gigantic Ferris wheel inside a very dark old building, and they sell a lot of peanuts.
Piccadilly Circus is just Times Square.
Oh, my goodness.
I think... It's not even that big, like, honestly, but I think I remember going on a tour in London. I think it's called that because that's where they, like, would gather and have, like, all of, like, the animal markets or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyway, it's the equivalent of Times Square, but in London. Maybe it's not as big as Times Square, but I've been to Piccadilly Circus, and to this very day, when there's a lot of people, I say it's like Piccadilly. But... back to what I was talking about, Empoleon from February 2nd through the 4th, and then again from February 9th through February 11th, you can battle 7-star Empoleon. And apparently he's going to be tricky, so you better hope that Austin John puts out a video on how to beat him.
You know he will.
Well, he didn't on the last one, so...
Off day.
Off day.
Everyone can have them, even the Ravens, right, Geese?
Yeah.
You tell them, Geese. All right, Clambos, let's move on to the segment most of you have been waiting for. That's right. It's discussing an episode of Pokémon Horizons, which, again, I'm actually not sure if this series will be called Horizons in English by the time it gets here. So, Gleamin' Terapagos Adventures. Geese Peep, may I please hear the title of the episode in English?
The Roaring Black Rayquaza.
Which footnote, they may translate that into shiny. Who's to say? Or in Japanese, Hōkō no Kuroi Rekkūza. Taylor, let's hear Taylor's What Happened Last Time on Pokes of the Week.
We all remember the team finally caught Lapras of its own volition, and they've also seen something exciting in the sky.
Well, you don't have to be vague about last week. We already...
So mysterious.
We can be
what
vague about
a shadowy figure.
We can be vague about this episode in the segment Geese Peep's one-sentence synopsis of the week. Geese Peep, take it away.
Finally, the gang catches up to Rayquaza, only to be interrupted by an old frenemy.
Wait a minute. When was he ever not a full enemy?
He's kind of cooperative sometimes.
He's the audience's friend, but their enemy.
He doesn't seem malicious, unlike a lot of the explorers.
Yeah, he seems like he's gonna reform.
Who are we discussing, Clambos? Let's find out. This is a direct continuation of last week. That's right. No time has passed from last week's episode. We're right back at it again with the Rayquaza. And we see inside of Amethio, a.k.a. Amaranth's submarine. He's got a reading for Rayquaza. And what's the time of day? Is it sunrise right now?
Underwater time.
Sunset. We'll go with sunset.
Yes. How are they tracking it?
Rayquaza meter. Corviknight, let's go! And, oh, by the way, Geese Peep's favorite moment of the episode, when I tell you all the Pokemon that are in the water, there's a Mantine and a Mantike and a Horsey and a Seadra and a Huntail and a Shelder and a Starmie. And those little fish on the bottom, they kind of look like Wishy-Washy, but they're gray. Wishy-Washy, probably the only thing they could be, because it doesn't really look like an Arrokuda. It's too small for that. And then we go straight to the intro of the show, Clambos. Oh, God, it's Rayquaza. And Roy... Okay, Clambos, listen. This episode, Roy he's a liability, is what he is. He's just a yelling at Rayquaza. This young child with a baby starter Pokemon is yelling at Rayquaza, come battle me.
I just don't understand that. I guess this really is a world where Pokemon don't hurt people.
Well, it's interesting because in this episode, it's one of the rare glimpses that we see the adult members of the crew be actually concerned about the safety of the kids.
Let me just, I'm jumping ahead. I'm calling it, thank goodness. This is a big spoiler. Thank goodness for the final scene of this episode, because I like to call this episode, Is Ceruledge okay? I was so concerned for my boy Ceruledge this entire episode. That's a spoiler, but I got to get it out of the way now just to prove there's real danger in this world.
Yeah.
So Fritos thinks that these ancient companions are all communicating with one another. And that's why Shiny Rayquaza showed up, because we got Arbolive over here and Lapras, and they're all singing and dancing, and who's to say? Then, as they're all staring at the Rayquaza, Liko's, I don't know if it's Rayquaza's Pokeball specifically or just her belt in general, it starts to glow. Do either of you have insight into that?
Don't all of them glow?
It was just like one tiny part of it. Just a little guy.
Oh, okay. Then that's probably its ball. Did Roy get... No, I feel like Roy would have that. Because Roy's always showing everyone. He's like, hey, look at this cool ball I got. You want to hold it?
You really want Roy to end up with that Pokeball. I don't know if it's going to happen.
I'm really hoping.
It's going to happen.
And then Amaranth flies in on his Corviknight. But Rayquaza's not trying to fight. Now, Amaranth, sure, he's brave. Corviknight, incredibly brave. Just, I'll go ahead and attack this Rayquaza.
I was just, this episode, I was most impressed with Amaranth and his whole lineup. He was just like, come on, let's go, bird. And the bird was just like, yep, cool, got it.
It was sick.
Ceruledge is very sick. He's thrown out, also told to attack the shiny legendary in the sky.
Everybody at one point was trying to attack Rayquaza in this episode, and no Pokemon were hesitating. Does that mean that if you are a trainer capable of taming a Pokemon, that Pokemon unequivocally follows your orders?
Pretty much.
Huh.
We don't see, I mean, unless you got a Charmeleon situation where they're not listening to you. But
well, that's what I was thinking, because that was untamed at that point.
Before we move any further, I got to say, I thought this episode was very sick.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so bad for Geese Pete because this episode is battle central. Battle city, nothing but attacks. Nothing but...
It opened up and I was like, oh, poor Geese. And the whole episode's just a big battle.
It's
and
still...
I liked
then
it.
they end it with a battle, too.
Spoilers. But, okay, Geese liked it. Good to hear. Let's move on with the giant battle. Psycho Cut, Air Slash, and once again, Geese Peep, Captain Pikachu stealing the show with his little grunts, his little noises in the wind and the waves of this battle. In this
Sabbatical.
Well, I'm about to say the word hysterical. That's what happened. I was reading the notes. And
okay.
Battle and hysterical all they joined together. We're hysterical during this battle. They are still, as you recall from last week, on the rocks near that cove where Lapras and his pirate friends like to eat berries.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, my God. They're still at their base, huh?
Yeah, they didn't have a chance to go anywhere.
Oh, right. I like that. When one episode just picks up right when the last one ends.
And then comes the part Geese Peep loves. Jump on Corviknight, Ceruledge. Fly up into the sky and use a Psycho Cut. And then, oh my God, Rayquaza's doing some scary big old dragon beams. And Frito says, Charizard, let's go. So Frito's and Charizard runs over to protect Roy from all the battle, from all the beams. And then we get something very sick, Geese, which I am almost certain you're not going to get in English. But Murdoch screams at Frito's and yells, get those kids to safety now. And it's the most serious line delivery you've ever heard.
It's very sick.
And the music is so ominous, and it just like, they do a really good job of painting that it's like a dangerous situation.
The whole episode had very good music.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way, oh my God, the strings in this episode, incredible. There's no way these children understand the danger they're in, because everybody else is just trying their darndest to get them to safety, and both of the kids are just, I don't want to fight her.
I'm happy that somebody reeled in Roy.
And then Amaranth yells, Bitter Blade, and oh my God. Bitter Blade's my favorite move from Ceruledge. It's his signature move. It's super sick. And Ceruledge goes to shove his blades into Rayquaza's forehead. But it does nothing. And we get the sickest anime shot. Not children's anime shot, like this is DBZ or harder, of Rayquaza just smacking Ceruledge out of the air super fast into a rock down below. And then proceeds to just Dragon Blast him a million times.
It was actually a very, I liked that scene a lot, because one, it didn't seem like a Pokemon scene, and two, it displayed Amaranth being real concerned about his Pokemon.
Not concerned enough, honestly. He had a second there where he went, Ceruledge, or in Japanese, Sorubirezu. But it wasn't enough, because he was just standing by the hole for a while talking about Rayquaza, not rushing to get my boy to say, I thought my boy was donezo, goner.
But normally, people will just yell out the name of the Pokemon, and he seemed genuinely concerned.
I have about 40 pages here of me just saying, you better go save that Pokemon. You better rush down, get him to a Pokemon Center. Then we get Roy really annoying me, because he's still just yelling at Rayquaza, just saying, I want to fight. Captain Pikachu has absolutely had enough with Roy's... What's the word?
I'm surprised nobody just picked him up. Like, Charizard didn't just pick him up and move him. Because I know the boy is lovably dense. But come on.
Because Rayquaza's blasting rocks absolutely everywhere. Charizard and Arcanine are both trying to flamethrower all these rocks away. Lico's hurt. I don't know if she scratched her leg or what, but she's already in pain. And then Geese, we see a big rock coming right towards Roy. But then Liko runs over to push him out of the way, and this giant rock's about to kill Liko. And then what happens?
Terapagos
goes into he uses the ability Terra Shift, because when he terrestrializes, that's an additional third form.
Oh.
This is just his terrestrial form.
It's interesting because the show makes a point to say and to like show that he hasn't evolved. This is just a temporary form.
Per Amaranth.
And I was really concerned because I was like, no, I want him to be a cute little turtle forever.
He is, no.
I was glad.
Terapagos. Oh my God, it's a brand new terrestrial form. Grandma Diana's losing it. What's going on? Terra Shift, Terra Shell. It's all types. It can absorb any type. What's going on? Terra Starstorm.
That's right. It's time for a Gundam fight.
Amaranth is very curious about this development. What he should be curious about is what's the quickest way to the Pokemon Center for my boy Sarah Ledge.
They have to have one on the sub, right?
They better.
I think this is also... Amaranth just notices that they're there. He didn't know that the Rising Voltaclers were there.
Yeah, he spots the Great Salami at some point during this.
It'd be funny if they had an evil Nurse Joy on the Explorer's submarine.
Yeah. Just like those veterinarians that help the criminals in all the TV shows.
Yeah.
So then, after Terapagos turns into his terrestrial form, where he's got the big giant shell and all the, what do you call that, like whiskers or hair coming off of him, he protects Liko, but then gets real sleepy and then reverts back to baby form. Rayquaza flies off, bored now that Terapagos is no longer super sick, and it cuts to nighttime. Roy is devastated. I feel like, honestly, Roy needs a big talking to. I think
yes,
he should
he does.
Be grounded, not given all the support that he gets in the rest of this episode.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
he should be in
surprised
trouble.
by that. Roy, you can't do that.
Someone took his jacket away, so maybe he got in trouble. Maybe they said, no more jacket, Roy. Or T-shirt or hat or whatever he was wearing.
I guess in defense of the show, this is what their whole goal has been, is to find this Rayquaza, so I guess they were expecting this behavior. I don't know.
You know, I too blame it on the adults, because they just went along with it. They were like, let's go by the whims of this 10-year-old child. Okay, all right, let me ask you two a question. What do you think Rayquaza does with the rest of his day?
That's a good question. He must be bored. He must just sleep.
Yeah.
Well, because doesn't he have like sovereignty over weather? Do you think he just needs to keep the weather in check?
Regular Rayquaza does. I don't know anything about shiny Rayquaza.
Just playing in the ozone.
He's from a different dimension or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Then we get a scene. It's still nighttime. Everybody's somberly walking to the ship. Grandma Diana's crying about something. I wonder what, Geese people.
I really like this scene. The voice actor did a really good job because she did like the perfect impression of congestion caused by crying. I thought it was also like a really nice moment because Liko doesn't really pick up on it and like only the viewers get to see it. We get better feeling of her character in the sense that one of her life's goal is to like research Lucius and his journals. And so like this is what just happened is like a big deal for her. So of course she's overwhelmed.
Man.
She obviously, it sparks her interest in exploring on her own, but I really like this scene.
I agree. Very good scene.
I don't recall if they put it in the anime, but in the video game, that image of Terapagos in that form was sketched in those books. So it is a pretty big deal.
Oh. Also, this scene takes place after sunset.
Well, Molly is checking out Terapagos. Thank goodness he's not injured, just real sleepy, like Geese Pip. And we get some incredible music. As mentioned before, so sick, so good. English watchers of this, I can't apologize enough to you because you know they're getting...
It's just so eerie and mysterious. It was a very cool mood throughout this episode.
I have something to say. I think that Roy with no hat is odd, and it goofs me.
I know. I saw him and I thought, who's that character?
I don't like the boy with no hat. He just has some dark black painted on hair, like a helmet, and then a tuft of red.
His hair looks like a squawkabilly.
It's so
like he shaved all of his hair except the little tuft at the front that he dyed red.
Well, the boy remains oblivious to the danger he was in today. But then cute little baby Hōkō, Geese, what does he do?
He falls asleep
on Roy's shoulder, and we get a commercial break. We cut back to the episode. The salami's flying. Noctel's on the lookout. It's still nighttime. We get an interesting little scene of Fritos and Grandma Diana talking in that one room. You know the one with all the windows. Guys, do you know the name of this room?
Observation deck?
Yeah, it's the one in like the first episode. Everybody was going on, oh, this is my secret hideaway. Oh, Sprigatito, you like it up here too? That room. You guys know that.
Yeah.
So we get a pretty in-depth scene of Fritos and Grandma Diana discussing the terrestrial form of Terapagos and how quickly Grandma Diana revealed the last two heroes made me think, wait, did we miss a scene in an episode where they went through each one?
They did. When they were doing the PowerPoint presentation, they went through all of them.
But
yeah,
they
I thought
clearly
they
said which one was which?
Yeah.
Because last week I was talking about, oh, maybe one of the heroes is gouging fire, the Paradox Entei. I was mistaken because it's just regular Entei, apparently. Unless it's a twist. I don't know.
I like these adult conversations that they have.
Me too.
But, so Grandma says it's Cleavor, who's the Hisuian evolution of Scyther.
Oh.
Entei, the legendary.
Which one has the worst design? Is it Raikou?
Raikou looks sick. I think all three look good. Entei is the least appealing to me, but they all look fine.
I think the Thunder one looks most like a hodgepodge of shapes.
No, his little face is so sick, his little fangs. So, Fritos and Grandma are both very excited to work at chasing down this mystery. And like always, Grandma says to Fritos, watch my granddaughter. I'm bouncing. I'm going to go track down, I guess, Butler Hamburgers, you would imagine, to see who she's talking about.
She says that she's going to investigate why they're going after the pendant in Terapagos.
I thought Fritos took the news of her personally knowing one of the explorers in stride.
Well, I think he's aware that it's not... She knew him before any explorers nonsense. Wait.
Well, it was just surprise. Like, I didn't expect him to like question her integrity, but the fact that she had that link to them at all, I would have been like, wait, what?
Sure explained it.
In the beginning of the series, don't they make it clear that Amethio and Fritos have some sort of history, or no? That's the first time they met each other.
No,
I thought it was.
Think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay, and then unfortunately, it happens. What I spoiled earlier, the sunlight starts coming in through the window, and I realized that these two haven't slept any, and I'm just losing my mind.
They did do the funny thing that sometimes shows do, and it always cracks me up, where they're like, "Oh, it's sunrise. Turn on the light switch," instead of like a natural sunrise where the sky starts slowly getting brighter.
Do you Clambos know how important sleep is? You all need to get enough sleep, and I won't have it any other way. Grandma's gonna investigate why they seek the Terapagos and the pendant, just like Geese said. Fritos, his goal is to find Rekkūza.
His goal is to find the last two heroes.
Which is kind of weird because they almost switched goals. Because Diana was really excited about learning more about Lucius, and it seemed like Fritos had a very vested interest in the explorers.
Grandma Diana then says, oh man, it's all my fault that you guys have to deal with all this.
Oh, well, better not change my actions anyway.
But let's do what our favorite thing to do is, Fritos. Let's create more secrets. Don't tell anybody that I'm leaving. And Fritos says, okay.
Let Liko be scarred by my departure. That's fine.
And then we get something that's...
No. She says, don't tell anybody that this is my plan, that I'm going to be investigating. She's not going to just bounce.
Oh, that's what I thought.
If you watch the next time on Pokes, I think it shows that it's pretty clear that she's going to leave and she's letting people know. But then we get a very dumb scene, and I hate stuff like this. Grandma Diana says, oh, I'm not into technology. I don't even have a phone. If I need to communicate with you, I'm going to send my squawkabilly to fly across the planet to tell you. That's how we're going to do it.
I just don't understand with how much collaboration they need and how many situations they're going to be involved in. I understand you don't want a Rotom phone, but...
Get her a jitterbug. It's fine. It's so dumb. Then we cut to Liko watching baby Terapagos. He's just a snoozing, and Sprigatito's there, and Antenna's there. And then Grandma bursts in. Liko, we gotta talk. And you know what? We need Roy, too. I need both you children in front of me right now.
I thought for sure she was going to give them a big scolding about their safety.
And does she? No. Geese Peep, what does Grandma say to the children?
You both are going to battle me, and if you get one hit on Arcanine, you win.
And Arcanine goes, ruff, and it made me laugh.
This is the exact same thing that happened with Fritos. Fritos was like, if you can land a single hit on Cap, you win the game.
Yeah, that's the rules of how they do it. Clambos, it looks like Fritos is going to referee, and we got Oreos and Murdoch are also going to watch this battle.
And Molly.
Molly's watching?
Yeah.
Molly watching. It sounds like Collywobble. Or what am I thinking of?
What?
Collywampus? What's the word I'm thinking of? Molly Compton?
Jabberwocky?
Yeah, that's it.
Sure.
Geese, did you notice Oreo's holding Hatenna and it's cute?
Yes, I saw that. It was so cute.
And Clambos, they start playing some music. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm fairly certain that it's the Generation 8 Galar battle music. And I'm almost double certain, because if you watch next time on Pokes, they also play 100% the Galar battle music. Da da na 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 with the claps.
So good. I played Sword and Shield for
Sun and
200
Mint?
plus hours,
Oh.
and I remember barely anything from that game.
I own one of the games, I think maybe two of the games that I started and never finished. I've gotten decently far in Violet.
Pokemon's so good.
I just wish it ran better.
They've really taken that to heart, and I believe that the next video game, because I don't think Arceus ran that bad, but if you were to ask me what my prediction would be, so we're getting Switch successor this year. I really hope we end the year with a new Legends game. So Legends Kyurem, and a lot of people want Wild West Unova, which is the United States, which would be so sick.
Wild what?
Calm down. But we could get the original dragon, and I think that something is going to happen where the performance issues will be improved.
I had that reaction to it being a Wild West theme, and I always, if somebody says, do you like Westerns? I always say no. I have greatly enjoyed every single Western I've ever played, and Wild Arms is one of my favorites.
I was about to say Wild Arms is one of your favorites.
I don't know what the block is. Love Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
So Dot's going to film this battle remotely. Like he said, if they land even one single hit, they win. Go, Sprigatito! Leafage! Arcanine, use extreme speed. Fuecoco, use flamethrower. Arcanine, use your own flamethrower. Oh my god, Glambos. This Arcanine is so powerful. He takes out both these little baby starters so quick.
I loved his interaction with Fuecoco. When they did the flamethrower thing, there wasn't even a little bit of the energy battle. Like, whoa, it's moving back and forth. It was just like, nope.
Well, maybe later he'll be a bit stronger once Arcanine uses Sunny Day to power up Fire-type moves. Interesting. And then Fuecoco uses Stomping Tantrum. And our favorite thing in the world, Clambos, it's when Liko tells Sprigatito, now use a big leafage.
Yeah.
It's our favorite. Okay, so we got the Sunny Day going, Clambos. The Fire-type moves are stronger. And I did write down here, man, if only Sprigatito knew Solar Beam, she could do a quick Solar Beam right now, because as you Clambos know, if Sunny Day is out, you don't have to wait a turn to use Solar Beam. Pops right out.
Ooh, she could even use a big Solar Beam.
I know. Sprigatito's glowing in the sun, Clambos, and Rockruff's watching, wagging his little tail. Geese, did you notice?
Yeah.
Murdoch and Oreos are cheering on the kids. Let's do it our way, says Roy. And then we get the scene, Geese, where what happens? Hōgeta.
Sprigatito gets really embarrassed by the singing. It's funny.
She's not amused by the Hōgeta. Hōgeta. Gambare. She's
just imagine playing baseball, and right before somebody goes up to bat, they just start chanting to themselves.
I mean, you girls know about Owendon, right? Owendon?
Huh? No. Is that... Okay, no, I'm not going to fall into the trap of that sounding like a noodle dish, so I assume it's a baseball player.
No, it's just the people who cheer for people. I've talked about it on here before. I have the video games from Japan.
Oh, well, no. That would be somebody cheering for someone. I'm talking about somebody just psyching themselves up.
Oh, my God. Actually, I saw the craziest compilation of Japanese baseball clips I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, let's move on. Leafage, extreme speed, slide under him, Pokemon. Leafage, flamethrower. Oh, now we're getting a real flamethrower fight, a real Dragon Ball Z beam fight back and forth. And Geese Peep. During this big scuffle, during this giant battle of wills, where there's dust clouds everywhere, what does sneaky Sprigatito start to do?
She crawls towards Arcanine and uses Scratch on Arcanine.
Oh my God, they outsmarted Grandma Diana and the Arcanine? I don't believe it.
I do like how this particular scene does a good job of showing how they've improved as trainers without something just arbitrary, without them saying, oh no, try real hard. And they're like, I'll push past my limit. This was them working better as a team, not having a moment where they butt heads.
Yeah, that's right, Clambos. They work together, and we hear the victory music. They beat Grandma. A perfect score, kids. And Grandma says, this is the lesson of the day. Poke lesson of the week. Grandma Diana says to the children, no matter how big or strong the foe, there's always a way to fight back.
Which is a terrible thing to tell those two children. Because they need to learn restraint, not press the gas harder.
Yeah, especially after Roy almost died. And then Dot calls on the phone. Turns out Terapagos is awake, and he's eating berries. And then I wrote for the 20th time in my notes, how's Ceruledge? Let me make it clear to you, Clambos. At no point after Ceruledge is brutally murdered do we have an update on how he's doing.
But he can't die, right?
Why, because he's a ghost type, you mean?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
At no point. Because at this point, you're supposed to be excited for the kids. I'm just sitting there, how's Ceruledge? And I swear, if this episode would have ended without a Ceruledge update, I would have just watched the next episode because I couldn't handle it.
How do you administer a revive? I don't think I've ever seen a character use a revive before.
Oh, like they have to feed it to him or they just place
it on?
Is
it like a spray?
That's a good question. It's just like a crystal. Revive just looks like a little crystal.
I thought maybe that was just the vessel for it. Like it was a little tube inside that crystal.
Oh, maybe.
You like crack it open.
Yeah, crack it open.
Fry it up.
Cracking crystals with geese.
And then we see Hatena dancing around and having a great time because Hatena must be feeling Terapagos' excitement. So that's fun. And then we think the episode's going to end and I'm about to lose my mind. But thank goodness we cut to Amaranth and a standing walking Ceruledge walking through the Explorer Drome.
I was very concerned, as were you, about that poor Ceruledge. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, I guess he's just fine.
Yeah, he's fine. That's good, I guess.
Maybe Amaranth, under his breath, whispered, dodge it. And Ceruledge was good.
That's probably what happened. Amaranth walks up to Butler Hamburgers and says, I need more power. And that is the end of the episode, Clambos.
What do you two think that means? More power.
Just more stronger Pokemon or an army of explorers.
I'm hoping what it means is that it's finally somebody Captain Pikachu can fight. Because it's just been Charizard versus Soul Blades. Or versus Ceruledge. And
then, Clambos, we end our episode with not a Professor Frito's Seminar of the Week, but another entry into Terapagos' diary, gleaming, glittering diary. Geese Peep, would you like to tell us what happens this week with Baby Terapagos?
we see Terapagos walking towards the kitchen. He's hungry. And in the kitchen, we see Rockruff and Alcremie. And Alcremie shoots out some cream for Rockruff and Terapagos.
In the dark kitchen.
And then Chuckle comes in.
Oh, Chuckles the turtle with his magic
What's his
juice.
Name?
No,
Chuckle comes in.
Chuckles is fine.
Isn't Chuckles just hiding in a pantry?
Yeah, he also looks like a dog door or something. And then Rockruff and Terapagos drink the juice.
Well, hold on. Chuckle walks in. Chuckle comes in like, oh, wait, we feeding people? Let me pour it on myself to you guys.
It must be a relief, or that that's his purpose.
I'm so excited you got a screenshot of that, because that's thumbnail right there. Just pouring his juice out, and then Poke's just lapping it up, spilling the juice everywhere.
And then Quaxley come in, and Quaxley freaks out because of the mess and starts, cleaning up, and then he slips on the Chuckle juice, and the juice hits Quagsmire, and then he sneezes, and then it's a big old mess, and then Dot walks in and is like, what's going on?
What are these rascals up to?
I really miss Professor Fritos telling me interesting things about Pokemon.
I like the diaries.
I mean, they're cute. They always just feel so short.
Which I like.
It's like abnormally short.
He's fine, baby.
Geese, what'd you think of the episode?
Now it's time for discussion of the episode of the week. What's Geese's score?
7 out of 10.
Okay, that's way better than I thought because of the battle focus, which, like we said at the top, Geese Peep is not a fan of the battle episodes. She likes the cute episodes, not the battling episodes.
But the battles in this had meaning, for the progression of the story and stuff.
Yeah.
And especially I really like the Rayquaza one because it had actual, stakes and danger. And there was some real world, oh man, maybe these kids shouldn't be here. I like the moments of character with Grandma Diana. Yeah, overall I really liked it.
I was pleasantly surprised with this episode, even if it did make me worry to death over Ceruledge. Very fun, very cool, very sick. This is an easy 8.75 to 9.2 in that range. Easy.
Interesting that you said that. I was about to say 9.2. This was a fantastic episode. Not a moment wasted. Felt like there was always something happening. Like you said, felt like the battles had stakes. I liked Amaranth being concerned about Ceruledge in that way, in that moment. Stuff with Diana was real good. Music was sick. Only thing I didn't like is that no one said, Roy, don't do that again. I wish anybody had said, Roy, don't run into the dragon's beams.
I don't think we made it clear enough what happened during that episode. Fritos literally is pulling Roy away from danger, and Roy is fighting Fritos to run to the dragon.
No one says anything. It's just bizarre.
I mean, Murdoch does say get these kids to safety, but
that's true.
We did not get a scolding scene, which I feel was needed. Just Roy, listen, buddy, if you do that again, we're just dropping you off back at Kanto because you could have died.
It's kind of I wanted to see. It's kind of interesting because I don't remember any episodes having let's sit down and have a talk about that.
I guess you can't because at the end of the day, this is Pokemon and they can't go that serious with it. We've had episodes deal with the concept of death before, but I think that's just a bit too serious. The idea of Roy. We haven't dealt with too much human death, right?
I mean, just the one kid.
Oh, yeah, he was a ghost.
But they, even then, they didn't really outwardly state that. It was just a lot of implication, and I think a kid would understand. But you don't want to show 4 kids where kids are getting in trouble.
You're actually right, Taylor. They were very careful about, you had to infer what actually happened. They didn't come out and say it. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's your score of the week, Taylor? How do you like the episode?
9.2.
Oh, you already said that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very good episode. I mean, we finally met Shiny Rayquaza, and it didn't disappoint.
Well, we met him before, but yeah, he's making his grand reappearance.
Or, we caught up to him.
Yeah. All right, Clambos, that's how we felt about this episode. It's time to move on to the wrap-up because Geese Peep has to go to sleep because she hasn't slept last night, and I'm concerned.
Please sleep, Geese.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please follow us on social media at Look Listen Cast on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you to Keith for our artwork. You can follow him at twitch.tv/KeithSquared.
Shouts out to Professor Ticklebit at twitch.tv/prof_ticklebits for his website, and Taylor.
Mostly the boilerplate.
Thank you to our supporters. You can support us on a monthly basis by clicking the link in the podcast feeds or on looklistencast.com. There's a link there. Spotify, Podcasters, Anchor.fm. Please recommend this podcast to your family. It's such an easy listen. And there's no swear words. So everybody can listen. All the cousins, all the grandmas. Please send in your questions every week. Doesn't have to be about Pokemon, by the way. Contrary to popular belief. Please email a question to looklistencast@gmail.com. This week is from Artie Fine. He asks, with the subject line Carryin Maridon, what is your favorite form of real-world transportation? Bonus, what is your favorite form of fictional world transportation? And he says...
transformation. And then it says transportation.
So those could be different questions.
He means transportation.
Dang it, I was going to talk about octopuses.
I thought you were going to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race.
All right, you two can answer both questions since he asked both questions. Then he follows up with, when I was a kid, there were some toys called Dino Riders. What wouldn't I give, I assume he means what I wouldn't give, to be able to hang glide with a pterosaur? That's pretty good. Okay, so Geese, go ahead and answer your octopus question.
I think the coolest form of real world transformation is an octopus when it, mimics stuff and changes colors. Pretty cool.
And has dreams. Don't eat an octopus.
Well, let's not lecture people, but yes, I did just watch a video of an octopus hugging a little robot octopus because it saved him from a shark. So, they're just little sweethearts, and they don't even taste good. They taste like you shouldn't be eating them. So I would leave them alone personally, but it's up to you. We can't tell you what to eat.
And my favorite form of fictional transportation that I would want to do is Star Trek transporters.
Oh, that's so quick.
Oh, that's a good answer too.
Guys, am I crazy? Because I was thinking the other day about this. Somebody was talking about just teleporting.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how much they hate flying, how much they hate airports, all this. And I talk about how, I wish I could just transport to where I wanted to go. I started thinking about that, and I thought, I don't know, I kind of like the whole pomp and circumstance and the to-do. To me, if you told me I could teleport to Japan, I'd go, oh, that's a little less fun, huh?
It would, I think...
Geese is shaking her head no vehemently.
The steps that you have to go through to get somewhere make it more rewarding. If you could just teleport everywhere, it would just be, oh yeah, I'm going to the Alps. Okay, that's fine.
And I would be fine with that.
Yeah, she'd be fine with it. But I'm already crazy with that kind of thing because I enjoy being asked for my papers.
There's
something fun about that to me, just proving I'm there legally. I don't know.
I dislike that a lot.
Most people do, especially Americans.
I get a lot of anxiety in airports.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Taylor, what's your favorite transportation and transformation, both real world and fictional?
Transformation, obviously a butterfly. Come on, Geese.
Come on, Geese.
And then real world transportation. Bullet trains.
Yeah, she stole my answer. First off, I'm upset.
I don't think there's a better answer than that.
They're so
that
sick.
That was my favorite part about the movie Her. Is it was a futuristic movie with very plausible elements to it, and the fact that everybody just got on trains to go everywhere around the planet. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Well, maybe in 100 years we'll have a lot more trains over here too.
I'm hoping.
I need to watch Her.
Have you never seen it?
I think I watched the first 5 or 10 minutes and then didn't watch the rest.
Oh, it's one of my favorite movies. It's incredibly good.
I gotta watch that movie.
Fictional transportation is very tricky because the idea of any kind of sustainable interstellar travel is very cool to me. I don't like the idea of light like warping, because there's no context. It's not like I would know the difference between solar systems. So anything where you can go into a cryogenic state and go a long distance and just wake up somewhere else is really cool.
I think technically Geese Peep is in micro sleep right now, but I'll say that as we understand it, the speed of light is the fastest we could go anyway. So if you're trying to travel to a different galaxy, what is that? At the speed of light, how long does that take? Still 100 years, 300 years?
If I'm taking a nap, a couple seconds.
Yeah.
But then you have the problem that everyone you know would be dead. That's what happens in Foundry or whatever that show I was watching for a while.
Spoilers.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Taylor stole my answer. It's clearly the Shinkansen. So sick, so beautiful, so wonderful. Favorite transformation? Probably my Beast Wars toys. The Wolf Eagle and the Centipede. Very sick.
That's your favorite real world transformation?
And then for my favorite real world, fictional world transportation, probably something from Banjo-Tooie, some goofy that thing in Poor Things. That was fictional, right? The little trolleys they had around everywhere. That looked.
I haven't seen the movie yet.
Go see it. It's good.
I want to.
Thank you so much for your question, Artie Fine. All right, everybody's got things to do. He's got to sleep. I got to rush to the movies. Good night, everybody. Goodbye. Geese is going to say goodbye 3 times.
Goodbye.
Taylor's going to say goodbye once.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Howdy, y'all. It's me, Geese Peep. Thank you for listening to the Geese Peep Productions podcast.
Geese Peep Enterprises, doing business as Peep Industries, together with its subsidiaries, is a diversified worldwide entertainment company with operations in media networks, talent management, parks and resorts, multimedia entertainment, and consumer products and interactive media. Geese Peep Enterprises is a Dow 30 company.